Think you're good.
Okay. Welcome to the Wednesday, February 25th, 2026 Public Site and Building Commission meeting. And we'll start off by saying the Pledge of Allegiance, please. Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, thank you, Kathy, for setting out the agenda and the minutes and everything. So the next item on the agenda is any public input, and there is none. No additional correspondence, although we just handed this, but we can ask Dr. Carver about that. So we don't have that. Okay, so the next item is the review and approval of the minutes from the regular meeting of Wednesday, February 11th, 2026. That was sent out earlier. Anybody have any comments on that or questions?
I make a motion that we approve the meeting minutes from the regular meeting of February 11th, 2026.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, passed. Thank you. Okay, any new business? Oh, just, I thought Dave said he was coming.
He had a family issue.
Oh,
Coming
okay,
up, yep.
okay, and that's, okay. Yeah, I just kind of, so of course, the first time that I park in the back and I go to walk in the back, everything's locked, so I have to drive.
No, the back door with the ramp that goes up by the gym is always open. for
No,
parking,
that's,
so-
yeah, yes, yeah,
Okay.
but I parked on this side because I came in by the,
Well, and you can't
Steve
park
is-
on School Street because it's a mess and crazy.
you know, going to hard. Okay, so old business, I see Mark.
No, I don't see Mark. Let's find out what's going on.
Okay. So I was on the brief call. I think I sent this out. He writes up notes from the OAC meeting on Tuesday, the 24th. Mark is on there, John from Cologne and myself. And Jason was not there. He said that he may, so nobody else was on the call. So I don't know if you took a look at this. Should I read these? Unless Mark is on, I guess I could.
Well, he's not there now and I'm texting him.
Yeah, I mean, I looked at the notes that I didn't care.
Okay. So bottom line is, it looks like the roofing is complete. That's a good thing. The duct insulation on the roof is complete. Room 218 still needs piping that requires insulation. The change orders, John was going to check from Cologne, was going to check on the electrical work from the change order to all the exhaust fans.
There's Mark.
Oh, there he is. Okay. Okay, hello, Mark.
Hello.
Okay, so thank you for joining us, and we
I'm
were
a little late.
the high school HVAC. I just started to kind of read over your brief notes, but maybe, do you have any more updates? I understand that John was going to try to stop maybe Friday to do a visual check.
Yes. Because John's going to try to get out there on Friday, and Jason reached out to me after I had sent the notes out to say that the electricians were starting on Tuesday and that they expected to be done wiring the exhaust fans by the end of this week. He wasn't gonna give me 100% commitment to it, but that was his goal, was to try and get it done by the end of this week. That means to me, it's probably middle of next week before he's done, but that's kind of just the way he works. So, you know, he kind of over promises and under delivers sometimes. So, but in essence, the project is ready for punch list, and John Mangelli was ready to start punch list end of this week when he does his first walkthrough. So he's just going to validate and verify everything that he's noted that needed to be done. Plus, he's going to do the formal punch list, and it may take him a couple visits to get that done. So,
All right, so there's light at the end of the tunnel is what you're saying.
I really think so. I think we're close to being finished with this project, and I'm very optimistic. The application for payment they sent me, John and Craig are reviewing, and I'm also having Geraldine review the what's it called, the wage requirements, the prevailing wage requirements. So she's going to check that for me. So by the next time we meet, we should have their February application for payment ready to go.
So are you saying that the work that they had, not the tracing, which was done, but the other work that they had to do that we approved the change order for is complete?
The change order we approved back in December, that work is complete. And the change order that we approved 3 weeks ago is underway right now.
So wouldn't we want them to finish that stuff before they go out and start putting a punch list together?
No, in theory, they should be close to done, close enough for us to do the punch list.
Well, you said, Jason said that they projected to be done maybe this Friday, but maybe into next week.
Right, exactly.
So they could start other items to start to check off until that one is.
Well, there's certainly aspects of the punch list that John can work on. That doesn't include the wiring of the exhaust fans. So, you know, and he's going to have to go out more than once to complete his punch list. So I'd like to see him get started on it sooner than later. Because there's very little left that outside of punch list tasks that we need them to do. And I'd like to get the punch list started before they leave.
Yes,
Because once they leave, we're going to have a hard time getting them back.
right. So is it a definite he's coming Friday, or is that he's trying to get there Friday to do that?
He told me he would do his best to get there Friday. And that was his intent. So unfortunately, he couldn't make it this evening.
Just to throw out there, I doubt Jason was there yesterday or today, because it was just, with all the snow, it was hard to access anything in the buildings.
Yeah.
I asked Jen, and she doesn't think he was either. I mean, you couldn't get to the buildings. It was that much snow.
Well, so maybe they're going to be a little later than, I'm just giving you the email that Jason had given me. So, my hope is that they can get to the building, and because they're working inside, it's not like they have to go outside.
Was that before the blizzard or after that you heard from him?
That was Tuesday morning.
Oh.
So that was yesterday. We had talked about that in the after the OAC meeting.
So Mark, where are things at with commissioning and balancing and any of the after the?
That's on Jason right now to get that coordinated, and that should be happening in the next week or two. That needs to start, and he's aware of what his responsibilities are to get the balancing done, and that's another task that is certainly a punch list task that John Mangelli and Craig are all aware of, so. And I've spoken to the SES guys, from, about a month ago, so they're raring to go. And they want to get started with the balancing so that they can do their report for us. So we're probably a month out from being 100% complete, but I think most of what we're talking about there is just punch list items and balancing and final controls. The control system with the BMS system, that still needs to get finally coordinated. And again, this all comes down to a coordination of Kohler Ronan, SES engineers, and Save More. They all have to get there and they all have to coordinate. And this all kind of comes down in the next week to Jason to being able to do. But with all that said, there's still a good amount of, small tasks and things like that that need to get done, especially with the balancing, so that we can wrap up and finalize this project. But we can certainly see the light at the tunnel right now. Light at the end of the tunnel.
Okay, any more comments from Dr. Carver or Dan or anything,
Just that we need the air conditioning because we're going to be in school till July.
Maybe even August.
When I was a kid, I remember that. I lived through the blizzard of '78, and I remember going all the way up to almost the first week of July, having to work to stay in school because we had missed so many school days.
It's actually a state law that you can't go beyond June 30th.
Yeah, I don't know if it was back in '78, but it felt like it when I was in high school.
Okay,
Anyway.
Mark, any other comments from anybody?
Um,
Oh, go ahead, Nick, sorry.
no, so are you going to, Mark, continue to have weekly OAC meetings to make sure that
Yes.
okay,
Yes, I intend to have another OAC meeting next week and the week after, because I really think we have to stay on top of Save More.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I think their intention is good, but if we let them slide, they will take advantage of it. So I want to make sure that we wrap this project up. I don't want to let it slide. I want to continue to put pressure on Jason and his crew.
especially if we continue to have whatever kind of weather. It could be rain, it could be freezing, whatever. I'm sure that's gonna, if they're totally done on the roof, it shouldn't, but
Right. The roof is done.
Yeah.
The roof is done. All the insulating on the roof is done. All the roof pitch pockets are done. All of the other flashing is completed. So the roof should be watertight right now. And if it's not, it shouldn't be from what our friends did
right.
for that project. So
Well, we'll find out when the snow melts, right?
or it starts raining on top of the snow. And
Yeah.
that's when it really gets ugly.
Well, good that you're gonna keep up on the meetings because I think we're gonna have to.
Oh yeah, we have to stay up on the meetings, at least 2, maybe 3 more weeks easily that we have to do OAC meetings because again, like I said, we've got to stay up on this and we can't let them slide out of the closeout tasks that they're going to need to do.
Right.
Okay, so that's it for the roof. Anybody else?
One last question,
Okay.
Dr. Carver, Jen, what do we have? One more reimbursement application to submit once the project's complete?
I believe I talked to Brad. They want me to submit one more before I retire, but I'm not sure that's going to be the final application. But Geraldine was going to get me another submission in early April. So she and I have been coordinating that. And I'm not sure when we expect the final invoice, but Mark, would it be around that time?
Yeah. Geraldine should obviously be with us, and she's dedicated to you guys, so she's more than happy to stay on if I'm answering your question.
No, I'm just wondering if the final invoice will be ready by like early April, because that's when Geraldine and
Final invoice?
had coordinated like the next payment before.
Yeah, I'll
It
tell
might
you
not be
what,
warm enough to
Sable will want to give us their final invoice by middle of March. They will want to give us their final invoice, and you know, it's just a conversation. Are we willing to accept their final invoice by then? And if you're comfortable with it, you know, we'll just look at the punch list items and make sure that everything is on schedule or completed. Honestly, I'm not
personally am
sure
not.
there will be.
Yeah, it's okay. I'm just
Yeah.
saying I can submit the next one in April, and if we have to submit one later, that's fine. I would not submit a final invoice until we were sure the whole project
Right.
was locked up, in my opinion.
Right.
And we
Right.
finish commissioning and when the weather's warm enough to really test the AC.
Well, that's a commissioning thing, yeah.
Yeah, that's commissioning, and commissioning will come out again in 6 or 8 months after they do their initial commission on project completion. They will be out again to test it under load and to see how well it's performing. So I would suspect that SES will be out in the middle of August, finalizing their report on the performance of the systems. So we may not have final 100% billings to the project before fall,
And that's fine. But
but those
I
will be
know that-
small bills.
yeah, I know the town wanted to do one more filing like in
Yes.
April. So I'll follow up with Geraldine on that.
Okay.
I don't think it'll affect the filing and the reimbursement, but obviously we need to get the initial commissioning
Yes.
and load testing done, because then 6 months from, you know,
From that date.
say May or
Yeah.
June is going to be the middle of winter again, and they're not going to be able to do their second round. So obviously this thing has to get done by April.
Yeah, we want the first test no later than April 15th. We don't want it any later than that.
Right.
So
We would we be hanging on to some funds that we owe, Save More, either
I would,
or something until at least the first commissioning is done?
we should at least hold on to their retainage until that final approval from SES and the commissioning report comes through.
I don't know the exact legal, what we can hold and how long, but I was under the impression it's a year from substantial completion. We can keep retaining. But I may be wrong.
Well, there's a number of different rules for retainage that goes around between, you know, the decreasing retainage and releasing it, and when do you release it, and how many things are outstanding. I don't think anybody will give us a hard time if we hold on to their retainage over the summer until we get that final commissioning report.
Right.
You would just want to make sure all the bills were, and Jen can correct me if I'm wrong, all the invoices are out and paid, or at least processed before our deadline with DAS.
Right. They have to be, I think, don't they?
Yes.
All right, so we'll just stay in constant communication with you and Jen to figure out what we should do with our billing and how much we should release and how much we should keep and when it needs to get in for you guys. So that'll be our priority.
I mean, they would still have the year warranty regardless of whether they
Absolutely.
retainage back. It would just be a possible more difficult situation to get them to come back.
Right.
Okay, any other questions? All right, thank you, Mark, for that.
Thank you, folks.
Thanks.
Mm.
Thank you.
Sorry I was late.
Review that, this is the next item. Isn't that,
Yeah, Mark, you put a budget,
Oh, for the,
The budget has been updated. Geraldine updated it for me,
last, or,
last week. It's on the share drive.
okay, I know she did it in January, I thought. Let's see.
She updated it for me. I meet with Geraldine once a week, so she updated it last week for me.
okay, great. Thank you very much.
All right. Well, thank you, folks.
Have a good week.
All right, you as well.
Okay, so the next item is the high school roof project.
just real quick, Nancy, is it there? I see her.
Oh, sorry.
There's a bunch, I just wanted, because I thought she looked like she was checking out. Just trying to keep the agenda, that's all.
Yeah, am I not like looking in the right place? Oh, wait a minute, there is this one.
I mean, it's up to you, Roger, if you want to just go back to it while she's looking at it.
Yeah, we can always come back just to double check on it. Thank you, Jeff, for mentioning that. Okay, so the BHS roof project, we were supposed to meet today in the first selectman's office, just talking about budgets and
Yeah, not,
procedures.
it was.
That was
for the
Well, that
highway.
was for the highway garage, but
So, sorry.
Still,
just back
I
to
think
that
they were
meeting,
going
just-
to
There's no invoices that we have to review and approve, right?
well,
For
I'm
the,
just-
for the HVAC upgrade, right? That's.
no, correct,
Just checking off this.
correct,
Sorry.
correct. I guess just to explain the process, but correct, that was for the highway garage, Mark, correct, sorry about that. Kathy just handed us an invoice. I guess that was sent to the,
Finance got it because it just
Finance,
is
yeah.
addressed to Town of Bethel, 1 School Street.
so there was evaluation, so for the Silver Petrusky and Associates, it's dated, February 1st, evaluation phase for $500. Do you know anything? I'm just, it was just given to us tonight, so I don't know anything about it.
So for $500, I haven't seen it, but I know they haven't, I know they've had, I think 2 different meetings with Tyler. I was in the first one, that we did like a project kickoff, and then he also spoke to them again recently. They haven't been able to come out yet to assess the roof because of all the snow we've been having.
Right.
But if it's only $500, I don't think I would be concerned. But we can obviously do some more research, to check on it for you.
I think we might need to let them know kind of how to
So then,
address or submit, because it ought to not be floating around. What's the date on it?
well, the first, February 1st, so.
All right, sometimes stuff goes to finance because no one else knows what to do with it. And then it sits there and they don't know what to do with it, and then they
We
pass it
gave it
off
to
to.
Kathy, right? And then Kathy gave it to us. So,
So we can talk to them about the process. So for this one, since it'll be new to start getting billing, is who needs to get a copy?
I think you do.
Yeah, you should probably get one.
So if, when they send the invoices, Jen would just verify that indeed the work was being done in Tyler, correct? And then pass it on to you?
Yeah,
so from your office should approve it and say, yes, this was, I mean, whatever it is. So this says evaluation phase, and it may have been the 2 or 3 meetings that you had and the phone calls and the kickoff meeting and all that, and they charge part of that, but somebody should, Jennifer or Ty, yes, approved, and then.
Yeah.
And then it should be forwarded to us somehow, and then, doesn't have to go through Kathy, I guess to one of us, to me or
Oh.
Tom, right?
Yeah, to one of you so that you can then
Right.
post it so
We
that
can
all of us
post it.
see it.
And then give it to Kathy, she can then post it and then,
No, Kathy doesn't post. You have to post it.
oh, okay. Okay,
Okay,
So-
remember, Kathy's our recording secretary.
I know.
Only.
So
You got-
we should be requesting from Silver Petrocelli that they send the invoices to us, right, Jen?
Yep, that's fine. We can do that. And then Tyler and I will validate them. And then when they're ready for payment, we'll send them to the committee. And then after the committee approves, it can go to the town for payment.
This looks like it was
Exactly.
mailed because it's folded. So,
It probably was.
yeah,
And our address is also One School Street, so it could have just been
I know.
with some confusion about which finance department to give it to.
yeah, it doesn't say anything about, Board of Ed or anything like, it just says Bethel High School, Bethel High School roof replacement. And so then it gets kicked around and, you know, this has happened before, but once you let them know, they could mail it if they want, and it could, you know, the public site has a mailbox, but nobody ever checks it, so I wouldn't want it to get mailed to us.
Right.
It's easy. We can have them communicate.
And
Yeah.
they could send you an electronic copy if that's the easiest way to do it. We still have to print one to sign it and send it to finance, but
Okay, so, is this I mean, you didn't check it, I mean, you didn't see it yet. Should you see it first or?
Yeah.
Yes, yep, yes, I would like to see it. We'll check on it for you.
Okay,
Do that
so
next
what's the
month.
best way to get this to
you
you?
can scan it.
And I'll do this.
Oh, okay. All right, so I'm gonna give it back to Kathy. She'll give it to you and then, we could vote on this on the March 11th. Our next meeting on March 11th.
Okay.
Okay, great. Okay, so, they evidently did some initial kickoff meetings. Of course, they have not been up on the roof. And they may not be up there until March, April, until the snow is on.
Yes,
So we wouldn't expect possibly anything else from them
correct,
at this time.
correct.
Okay. Any other questions from anybody? Do you have anything to say?
No,
Nope,
I mean, we just haven't been able to do a lot because of the weather.
Okay,
Received any estimates from Kohler Ronan on the small amount of engineering that they're gonna be required to do?
We're actually, Tyler, that's one of the reasons why Tyler was talking to Silver about this. We might not need a substantial amount for that, so that those conversations aren't over yet, but it's not looking like there's a possibility that Silver might not need anything right now, and that it would just be services down the line.
Okay.
okay, great. All right.
So I finally found the budget tracking report. And it shows that we have $81,541 left in contingency, which is good.
Yeah, I think we were on the number last week.
Well, it was
For last
90
year.
something before the change
Yeah,
order.
yeah,
Right.
So with the change order, and, so it is in there and it's under, there's actually two. Let me find,
There's the electrical change order and then there's STV's
right,
change order.
it's in the shared drive, there's the main one that was started way back when we started this project, VHS HVAC grant project. It's there and it's under project budgets.
We want to let Dr. Carver and Jen take off. We come back to this.
Well, I'm just saying that because we were looking for that before.
Oh,
And,
yeah.
and if you want to look at it, we can, but I don't know if we need to. I can.
That's fine. It sounds like the number, I mean, it sounds like
Yes,
Dave and I were talking about
yes.
last week. I think Dave brought it up. So.
I was not finding it partly
Yeah.
because there's one, Geraldine put one in January and she put another one in last week, but it doesn't have the year. It just says January 13th and February 17th. And I'm like, well, let's try that one. but they're all there and they're kind of not really in order for whatever reason. So they're there if you want to look at them, if you want to look at it.
Thanks.
Thank you very much. Okay, we're just gonna talk here. So thank you very much.
So, but Dr. Carver, you're saying you wanted, finance wants to do another,
Filing, yes.
to DAS before you retire. What's your retirement date?
It's June 30th. It's supposed to be June 30th.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, getting closer.
It's getting
I'm
closer.
going out with a bang with all the snow.
If it keeps snowing, does that mean you have to stay longer?
I don't know. So yeah, but yeah, they wanted to do one more just to process it, because I have the most experience doing it. But I've
Right.
already told Jen, I'm not going anywhere. So like if we need help along the way, I'm happy to help in any way.
Yeah, you could come to a meeting and bring cookies.
Maybe.
No way.
Yeah. All right. Well, I just wanted to make sure that, I mean, April, May, we could try to get it done and,
Yeah.
and
Well,
maybe we could be almost to the point where we may still owe some retainage and obviously something on commissioning, but we're gonna have to see about whatever the end date is as far as getting all the submissions done.
Yeah.
We don't
What I'm
wanna,
not sure about either with these grants is in the past, they have held back 11% until the
right.
audit is complete.
right,
But I don't know that that's true in these grants. So we just have to do a little research on that front.
good, okay, yep. Okay, I think, I'm good.
That's good. Thank you. Good night.
Great,
Thank you.
thank you.
I
Thank you. Good night.
Good
Take
night.
care.
Yeah, there was a, early in the morning, the school's Facebook post saying, Dr. Carter, I just arrived at the office. It's awful. Don't go. Schools can't, because they started with a delay, 3-hour delay.
Yeah, the roads were driven.
And it snowed like really hard for an hour.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it sucked, but it was a mess. Still is a mess.
This afternoon, 40 degrees and sunny. I'll take that.
Yeah. All the snow and ice were melted on the driveway. Dripping from the gutters.
There you go. Right.
All right, so the next item is the animal shelter. And,
That's, you were gonna
yeah,
have,
well, that was the meeting
yes.
today. That was posted on that. And so really there's nothing new, about how, proposals go out and who's going to be in charge and who's hat. And I believe they were going to hire somebody. Kathy, did they? Or are they going to be hiring?
No, they were considering doing an RFP. That was part of the reason why we were gonna meet today.
Yes, yes, right.
And meet with the new, procurement
Right.
person to see about the process.
Right.
Did
Yeah.
you guys have the roof shoveled?
For the animal shelter?
Yeah.
No, I actually asked him to go look at it and he went and looked at it because he shoveled it off in January and he went and looked at it yesterday and he said it was already, he thought it was doing well. So he's gonna keep an eye on it for any leaks and if he finds
Fingers
something, he'll do. But he felt that it was okay. It wasn't like too heavy or
Okay, good.
I was just curious, is that large dog still there?
I was thinking the same thing.
We were there in June,
King
right?
Horse.
May or June? It's,
far as I know, he's still there.
oh my gosh. I was just curious, does the owner have to pay any of it? I mean, why would the taxpayer have to?
Sounds
Don't want to
complicated.
talk about it right
No,
now.
no,
Yeah.
I didn't know. I just curious. Okay, so we'll wait for the rescheduled meeting, probably in a week or so. And then we'll have more maybe at the March 11th meeting, so,
So they haven't announced a new date yet.
no. On that, okay. So it's right in the highway garage. Okay, so for the highway garage, before the last meeting, we had the engineer report that came in. And then just today, the architectural assessment came in. I think did I forward it?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes, we
Everybody-
did get it.
The one comment I know you put on the drive.
Yeah, that was the engineer.
Yeah,
Yeah, the
I
other
think,
one's
I don't
we
on,
didn't have time, no, because it came in like,
Yeah.
like
I
in
didn't
the
see,
afternoon.
yeah, like at
Yeah,
3
right.
o'clock, and then Eric had another email about something, so,
Maybe we should look at that.
yeah.
Yeah, I haven't,
Eric, here. I made a copy of it.
I haven't had a chance to go through it.
No,
I got the email right
Yeah,
here.
really.
so I looked through the architect recommends, and I think on the, would that be on the, east side, where the offices are and that, is to just put a second roof over it, but bottom line. So they're concerned about taking the roof off, the structure, the trusses, and to shake the building or anything. And then you would have to vacate everybody from underneath and everything. So, this design is, just to put basically a second roof right over that roof. And that's on the last page of the report.
And that's in, I was gonna say, that's similar then to what was in the engineer report in Trello, right? Because that's what I read. That it was the idea of the full roof replacement was mostly, or over.
Right.
So it's in alignment there.
On the office. Now, I didn't say anything about the garage because in the drawing, he has a adjacent garage, and I didn't see that being addressed yet in the report that I went over the building overview and the recommendation.
Like the garages, you mean that, because that office is slash a garage for like the water department stuff, is that the garage he's referring to, or is he?
Well, the garage, I think, is where the trucks and everything are.
Yeah, I mean, because technically there's the other garage is part of where the offices are. Right?
Yes, yeah,
Yeah.
those are, yeah. So I think it is the first garage or when you come in where the offices and everything are. That roof is in bad shape. It puddles and all that. And I think it basically said, not to disturb that because it may have other, structural indications on that. So just to put, a second roof over,
It's interesting. I mean, it kind of
like a dome.
seems like it'd be the less expensive option, right?
Yes.
Well, they say it would take less time and be less expensive because there'd be a.
So how does that work? You have like
Well, I
essentially 4 corners and then metal steel buildings and just a roof over that?
I
Almost
don't
like
know
Here,
if they
slide
would,
this-
Well, I'm looking at my phone, but I was curious if there's like an architectural image of what it would look like, but there's nothing.
No, it's just the last, page, the drawing kind of shows
Yeah.
on that.
they would have to add some kind of structural
Yeah.
something to. Either
Trusses or
either
structural.
up through the
Then like in the,
existing roof or.
in the engineer's report in Trello, like they had said that they would possibly utilize some of the supports that are there, like, I guess that was in addition to, so it would be a combination of.
Seems like it. but
Yeah.
The way I understand
That
it.
was the way I kind of understood it as I
Yeah.
was reading it. So I guess my only concern was like,
Well, if they had to go up through the existing roof to help support the new roof, that wouldn't be a bad thing.
So then there'd be like a space between the 2 roofs, I guess, right?
Yeah,
Yes,
I would
Yeah.
think
Where
they
there was,
would
like, some-
want that, yeah.
So would they need to extend some of
Ventilation.
those exhaust pipes and stuff that are coming out of the garage? I guess have to go through the new roof?
no, what they're saying is not to have them go through, not to penetrate the roof, go out the side.
Okay, not to penetrate the new
The
roof.
wall, fans or
Okay,
blowers
right.
or something.
all
Okay.
out the side in that.
It makes
Okay.
sense. And
That's-
why,
yeah, right,
why
right.
penetrate the roof
Yeah,
going up?
yeah, I guess,
Right.
yeah.
Because that down
That's
the,
what will lead to the,
down the line,
Yeah.
that's, potential leaks, right? Failures.
so essentially it's this roof covering the whole,
It's like a clamshell going.
Right. and then utilizing
vent
that
the-
space between to put in
Ventilation
interesting, and then keeping
air.
the roof intact. That's interesting. Yeah.
And like
Probably,
that,
which would probably be a good gateway for the, not a gateway, but a raceway for the, if we did do sprinkler systems as well.
yes,
Right.
What I was gonna just suggest is, so I sent an email to Gary Tarantino asking if the original engineer's report was gonna be the final report. He got back to me saying, no, he still had to do his assessment. And it's not really ready for design, until we discuss all the findings, discuss sprinklers, discuss a bunch of stuff. So I'd probably recommend that at this point, we, in our next meeting or the following meeting, bring everybody in,
Mhm.
Torello, Tarantino, and Eric,
Mhm.
and just have a big discussion about this so we can move it to.
Plan it,
To design.
going forward.
Now, should the first selectman be involved in that or somebody from the selectman's office or no?
Nah,
They wouldn't want interest in telling you.
well, I think we bring it to them when we come up with a plan. The next plan. I mean, we can include it in a update, but right now, they're all doing budget stuff, so.
I think they're gonna wanna talk to us, we're gonna ask a bunch of questions, and then they're gonna
Yes.
say, do you wanna do what we recommend? And then at that point, we'd say yes, and then go for RFPs for design.
Yeah.
And then that's when we would go to finance and board
Or
of selectmen.
selectmen for money.
And at 4:30, Eric Swenson sent out an email to us just to say quickly, the report was issued a short time ago, and he has other questions about it, but he says, sprinkler design, ventilation design, and a water connection. And I'll send that email out to you. I just didn't have time.
I think it's your question is the main garage though. You don't know if that's also a canopy garage, roof over that, right? It's just,
What I understand is, what John Matt said in his discussions earlier,
yeah,
several weeks ago, that roof structure is in fairly good shape.
okay, so they
Just has to be maybe reinforced in a few areas or fixed, and then some type of a membrane or something to then go over that.
Okay,
So once again, there may not be any demo or just to fix it, patch it,
Yeah, yeah,
lack of a better word, patching it,
yeah.
fix it, and then
And the other
then
one
put a
would-
covering on.
The other one would get the other roof, the new roof above the old roof, I guess.
Right.
Well, it seemed like from his report that, I mean, if I'm reading it correctly, that it included the whole structure. Am I not? It seemed like that's what he was saying, replacement of the existing roof structure across the whole thing would be the recommendation.
I think that was for the office, for the
Just the
front
office.
garage and
Okay.
the offices, because that roof is in very bad shape, and they don't want to touch it. All the metal, corrugated, the overlap, if they start to mess with that,
That's where
the trusses could move and things could, it's probably rusted. and-
Plus, like you said, the disruption of the whole building.
Right,
While doing it, it's not like it's a quick
Right.
process.
right, so I guess more to come on that. The other issue is, Torello, the engineers sent in an invoice, I think just before prior to our last meeting.
Right.
However, we didn't see the report yet. We didn't see anything yet. So, we did take a look at that then. Since then, we have the architect's one. So there is an invoice, and, we could vote on it tonight or wait until the next meeting.
But you said, Eric, weren't there questions that he had asked, or? I guess there really is nothing to do with the.
No,
That's gonna be.
this is the engineer's,
Yeah,
report that was sent in. The other one is the architect, and then he has a couple other questions.
I think the question's gonna be on the design side.
Yeah,
yeah. Sounds like-
This invoice is for the engineer, right? For the
Yeah.
report, right. This is the one we,
Yeah.
we talked about it briefly the last time.
Yes.
We read through that report.
right, but we didn't have the report, or I
Right.
think it was just issued once again, so we didn't, process that invoice at the last meeting. Got it.
Now, for sequencing, do we,
But there was a deposit paid, do you remember?
yeah,
Yeah, we
So,
paid them 3,600
Right.
retainer in, I don't know, October, I think, or,
right, it was October 20th, I remember, because I was.
Yeah, okay.
not here.
Yeah, we're looking at the gym meeting,
But for sequencing, like, for the next meeting, do we go out to Torello and Tarantino and say, we'd really like you guys to be on our March meeting,
11th meeting.
11th, along with Eric? And then have this big, what are you guys describing? What are you telling us to do? All
Yeah.
that. Or does it make sense to have a smaller, like
Well-
Roger, Eric architects, and then come back to the meeting? I think the whole
maybe
commission should.
smaller, maybe? I don't know, it could be a couple of people and course, if it's a couple people, you have to figure out,
The quorum and.
well, so.
No,
if
no,
it's two
it
people,
wouldn't be
it's
a
fine.
commission.
You're saying just a presentation.
I think it should be the whole commission.
Well,
I think
it
everybody's
would
gonna have
be-
enough questions.
Yes, and I think it would be, because then we're all gonna, you know, let's say it's you and Roger or whatever, you and Jeff, whatever. Then you ask all your questions, and then you come to us without them, and then we have questions that you can't answer. So it might be better. I think we have to find out from them if they will come to a 7 o'clock evening meeting. Hopefully they will. And we could arrange it if need be for them.
I guess also, are they gonna charge for something like that?
Well, is this part of what we'd have to find out.
Is it though, right? Is it part of what?
Is it part of what
I would
they-
think it makes sense for them, but yeah.
I believe it, again, I'm speculating, but I believe it was part of it. And I remember in one of the meetings we had, probably the phone meeting, the kickoff meeting, they said they'd be more than willing to come
Yeah.
to one of these and
Right. and so-
explain
and-
the
And we
assessments.
could rearrange the agenda, put them first,
Right.
if they, or we could say, you know, you might be on at 7:30.
Yep.
And I know you don't want to include Dan, but is that something you should say, hey, you know, if they're interested, get.
It's not that you don't want
No,
to.
I'm sorry, I shouldn't have phrased it. I'm just saying the public can attend, right? He maybe, I don't know.
If he wants to, sure.
Yeah.
I mean, every
I don't know if he
time,
looks at the agendas for each meeting.
he does, and he comes to our meetings sometimes,
Yeah.
if he knows there's something going on that he wants.
I'm just
to know.
saying, would anybody else in the town side be interested? I mean, obviously Eric, but anybody else that would make sense? So, I don't know.
Well, John
Usually
was
not.
doing it, right, John Mott, but he's gone, so.
But our,
Like the new highway department, city, like,
our sort of as a commission, main task is to advise the board of selectmen, the board of finance, everybody. And if they all want to come to our meetings, they can. If they want to read.
I'm just thinking of
agendas,
avoiding like
okay.
a telephone thing later, like if he's gonna hear answering questions, and if somebody from the town has an interest in it, that makes sense for them to attend then.
They
When you
can,
present to the board of selectmen, they might ask you the same questions that could have been asked. I mean,
they will ask questions. If we come up with, we say we need X amount of money to do a design, they'll ask questions. We have to put together as best we can, and I would definitely make Eric come with us. All the information that they would need to make, because then they would have to pass it to the Board of Finance. And somebody watches the meeting recordings, because if you go into the meeting recordings and look, you'll see it's been watched 8 times or it's been watched 12 times. Don't know who, but people are watching them. So in the past, we know,
just on the weekends.
yeah, puts her to sleep at night.
That's my white noise.
We're watching you, Parker. right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We
My white
know,
noise at night. too.
we know that there are some of the, on other projects, contractors and subcontractors will watch the recordings to find out
Yeah, no, I
if
listened to
we
somebody.
approved their
that-
invoices, or
Easy.
did we approve their
Oklahoma.
change order or something.
Yeah.
So,
Well, they got the right,
No, like I said, I
Public
watched them, so yeah.
I would say that, leaving HVAC, since that project's, almost done, leaving that at the top, and then since probably nothing's gonna be happening on the PHS roof project, stick to highway garage. in the
Well, we
second
could-
spot.
do the BHS roof project, because they're beyond here, and we'll say nothing, then we go on.
Yeah.
Just because they'll be there, they'll, if Dr. Carver
Oh,
and
sure,
Jen and
sure.
Tyler are on, why
Yeah.
make them wait? It won't take long, then we just move
Yeah,
right
yeah,
on to
yeah.
highway garage roof next.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so that still leaves the question, to approve the invoice for the engineer's report.
Yeah, I don't see why not.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah, let's see my.
I think
'Cause that's
we- I think
the-
we should.
That's
Okay,
the total.
Is
Oh,
that
okay.
your responsibility?
Sure.
So you can highlight invoice number, dates. and-
Okay. So I'll make a motion. We approve Torello Engineers invoice number 4743 dated February 10th, 2026 in the amount of $7,200 for structural evaluation and the condition study report.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
A second. think we talked about it, but anything else anybody want to bring up? All in favor?
I,
Okay, motion passes.
and we've already paid a retainer to Tarantino back at that October meeting also. What was their total amount? We paid him $4,000. Tarantino.
I think he was 8
I think it was 8 total?
and these guys were 10-8.
Yes. But is that?
8 sounds wrong.
No, I think it's 5.
We'll have to look at some meeting, minutes, I guess, huh?
Well, let me see what I can quickly,
It's the 20%, right?
because the Board of Finance approved, 25,000 total. Or Board of Selectmen sent it to the Board of Finance, they both, yeah. Where are we? I can find it. Where's that? When would we have? That was in September, so
I have it here. I just need to find 8,500.
Thank you. Thanks.
8,500, yeah.
8,500, yep. It was approved on October 20th, 2025.
So you're going to,
October 20th is a Monday though, right?
No, this is just the proposal.
Okay, yeah, the 22nd is the meeting.
Well, but I think their proposal didn't change any. Is what I'm
there was no
remembering.
changes, right? There was-
I'm just seeing, so Dan Carter signed it on 10/15 and then it went back to Gary Tarantino to sign on the 20th,
And then it was 85,
8,500, yeah.
yeah. Because that,
With a retainer of 4,000.
right, which is what we did approve that in October and they got that, which was a total of, 19,300, I think, was the 10/8 and the 8/5.
Yeah,
So that 25 that we asked for was
well,
more than enough and we don't use the whole
because
thing.
Danny had to remember,
It
I
was
mean,
a 20%.
contingency,
Yeah.
it was 19 to 20, and he said,
Yeah.
well, let's say at a
Yeah.
10%.
And we don't use it, we don't use it.
Right.
It's just, yeah,
But that would only be another 3,400. And he gave us,
25.
25, just in case.
Thousand.
okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know if there was anything in there for the sprinkler guys, if they were still involved at that time.
We didn't put anything in for that
Okay.
at that
Yeah.
time,
I don't think we did. Yeah,
because I
So
think there was,
10/8, and what was the other one?
85. Wasn't there some, discussion on one of the boards for the need, with John Matt said for the need of sprinklers because of the, expense, and they said, yeah, but all of the equipment, blah, blah. It went back and forth, but that was left out of the bidding proposal.
yeah,
Right, because of insurance purposes, which Eric
Right.
brings up in this email today.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's another thing we'll have to discuss on the 11th. Which way we're gonna go with all that, and do we need to obtain another
Just for the
sprinkler
sprinkler system or
contractor
whatever.
that has the proper insurance?
Right,
well, but the sprinkler. Go back to, hang on a second. The sprinkler, where did it go?
You're right there, because if they went that route, they'd have to.
They have to do it now, it's nice.
Yeah, the only thing is that where the trucks are parked, they're not building another roof over that, right? They would have to, you're incorporating that side.
See,
The
the sprinkler part was only for the design. They didn't need to do an assessment,
right.
so we didn't really need.
Yeah, you're right, because the building's already there.
So if we want this, do we do it, do we do the design? And all these, the engineer does their part, the architect does their part, the MEP person does their part, or do we have one? Like sometimes architects will hire their own MEP sort of consultants. So,
And the design would have to wait until you know what you're doing with that, the bubble or whatever on the other roof, right? Because they would probably hang it off of that.
say that again?
The existing building, obviously where the trucks are parked, they could do a design there because that building's not changing, but the offices, they're putting that structure over there.
Mhm.
So they probably couldn't do anything there until they gave the green light to do it that way, right? To build the new roof. Right, because they couldn't design that because
Well,
that
we would
doesn't
give them to
exist.
go ahead to design as they recommended.
That's what I'm saying.
Do the whole thing.
And I think that's where it was gonna be. This engineer, I forget the name of it, it was another Gary.
Yeah,
They were all gonna work as a team,
You're right, yeah, yeah.
because Gary, Tarantino and Torello don't have an in-house MEP. So
right,
that's
so
where
they would hire them as
This
a
other G,
consultant, yeah,
Eric was referring to him as GD&D.
yes,
Um,
Gary, David, Dave. I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
D&D.
Whereas if GD&D don't have the right insurance or won't get it, then they have to go out to another sprinkler company to act, or another MEP company to help with that design. Because
But if,
it's not just the sprinklers, there's MEP for fans and some other stuff, is what Eric was saying.
well, the sprinkler design or MEP, and then they need an MEP engineer for the ventilation design for the roof, and then connections for the sprinklers, and there's nothing being done in that building other than the roof structure and new roof, making sure the roof doesn't leak, whatever. They're not redoing bathrooms and any of that. So, MEP doesn't have a whole lot to do, I'm thinking.
No, I think he said something about one or two ventilation fans and then
Right.
the rest is sprinkler. But, I mean, maybe a dumb question, Ola Ronan's an MEP, right? Engineer.
Yes.
We needed to find somebody, I guess we could.
Well, so that's,
Would you have to put out for bid for that? type
so
of
there's some, it depends on the cost.
thing? Right,
Like sometimes I think it's, if it's under $50,000, you can request quotes from 3 people or more. If it's gonna be a lot more, then you gotta do the whole RFP thing. Cause I know there's a couple things that were part of the firing range where we had initially this company did, for 30-something thousand, and we just got some quotes and that was fine. Then we had to go to the Board of Finance, and we're Board of Selectmen and Board of Finance to ask for their approval of the amount. And sometimes when you're first getting a project going and you need, like, the assessment, we didn't have to go and put a whole RFP thing out because it was obviously under the $50,000, but also you're needing that information to spend more money, so to speak, to get this, what's the design that's going to be needed. Now, if we wanted the design done by one of the Garys and they don't have their in-house MEP, would they hire GD&D on their, under them, and that would take care of the insurance thing? I don't know.
well, the insurance was limited by that, remember? They said 25, right? It wasn't agreed for the million, remember? So if,
For the MEP, for the fire, for the
well,
sprinkler.
for these assessments, I'm just
Yes,
saying.
yes.
But I think what Nancy's saying is we were contracting 3 different
Yes,
companies.
yes,
We can
then-
contract
Then
2
you have to
companies.
leave the
Right.
insurance, right?
Then we could, but that's up to them if they wanted to sell out another MEP company. Which is a good question. I'm not sure
Well,
why.
we
that
have to
wasn't-
ask them that
Yeah,
when they're on with us, hopefully next time. Hopefully they can make that March 11th meeting.
Okay, so, should we formally invite them? What's the bit, just, or ask Eric, hey, how about if we,
I think if you send an email to Eric
Eric, yeah.
and the 2 Garys together,
Yes, and
Inviting-
say, this is
Good,
what we're
yeah.
looking at doing.
we'd like to have you guys there.
Yeah, be at our meeting. Would probably get to you around, by 7:30, something like that. And get some questions answered, make sure that we know what direction we're going
You
in.
want them to attend in person or?
You had some input.
They can
I
do
know,
it.
like,
possibly, right, on the local guys?
That's what kind of, Nancy, we're thinking
One
on
guy-
Zoom or?
One guy's in
whatever.
Stanford, Tarantino's in Stanford. I don't know where Torello is. I don't know where they live.
Essex.
Essex,
Oh,
yeah.
that's all. Works for the.
So they're gonna,
That's where
they're gonna do it.
I mean, they could easily, I don't think we need them in person. It's always good to have people in person, but
I guess give the option either way, right?
and again, would it be them or would it be them and one of them had somebody on with them,
That was Torella,
yeah, he had,
John.
yes,
Yeah, he was the guy that came out and did the assessment.
right. So
I
he
want to
might
say
be,
Chamois or something like that.
yeah, he might be on also too, since he was the one that was there. Oh, yeah,
And Concourse.
yeah, however you say it.
Yeah, I don't know if you pronounce that as
Yep.
Illinois or Illinois.
Okay. So yeah, I would say let's plan for that and then everybody can do some, more review, make sure you review both the reports and see what we come up with and ask questions, et cetera. What's
Okay, so,
next?
if I said something to Eric and then, just to run it by him, and so to attend the next meeting on March 11th to discuss options, the reports, any questions that we may have, is that what,
Yeah, I would
basically-
say to Eric, that we,
Yeah.
the Public Site and Building Commission, would request, I don't want to say require, it sounds a little.
no, right, yeah.
do that.
That Eric and whoever needs to come from Torello and Tarantino, to come to our meeting and go over the reports with us, answer our questions.
So when you say come to the meeting, I would say virtually or, you know. or-
Well,
Yeah.
we
Well,
can
the
say,
invite would say that.
yeah, when Kathy sends out the,
But I'm just saying when he emails them, like,
well,
because they might say, no, I'm not driving from Essex, but I'm like, yeah, I can dial in.
No, we'll,
you can say
We'll let
either
them
in
know that.
person or
Yeah.
on Google Meets and then when Kathy sends out the invite, we'll make sure they're included and
Yeah, they've got to be aware of this. It's not like they would just email an assessment like, all right, here, let us know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
what do you think?
yeah.
I don't know. Okay.
all right, and that's it, I think, for the garage, correct? Okay, the next, topic is the Muni Center renovations. We haven't heard anything yet, so that's tabled until the future. And, anybody else have anything to,
Nancy, do you want to discuss your letter
Well, so we did find out that, that Stanley Weston isn't going to be joining us. That was a whatever. And so, and Dave Horvath, I believe, did send his resignation letter because he had said that he was just too busy with work and wasn't able to make the effort to join us, et cetera. So I had, I gave Dan a letter, saying that I would, if the board of selectmen wanted to, they could reappoint me. And then I would resign when someone's found to take my place. We still need to find someone for David Horvath. He said he was gonna talk to, who's the fellow, Kevin?
Kevin, yeah.
He said he has his name and he still needs to talk to him. They're like big into budget stuff right now. That's all they look at.
Yeah, I think Kevin said they played phone tag and
Yeah.
they just haven't connected.
Right, so that's in the works and if they choose, Dan said he'd think about it, they choose to do it. I would still be working towards finding somebody so I could
right,
go on my way. I know
It's nice of you to go off to that then.
right off into the sunset?
Right,
Is there
on the
any-
sunset, right.
Is there any word out of the two political parties about putting up new names or?
So both are aware. And the town committees have vacancy committees that take care of that kind of stuff, because it's not just like once a year during an election or once a year during appointment time. People resign or they retire and move out of town or whatever. So they're always looking for, the vacancy committees are always going to be told, oh, you need to find somebody, and then they work on it. It's hard to find people. It's, how do you make those connections, you know? Your kids go to school with this person and then maybe you find that person, but and otherwise,
To Jeff's question in last meeting, I spoke with Justin and he said he's
Yeah, I
waiting.
touched his brother, so yeah, he said he'd be good at it then.
yeah. I know there's,
Yeah.
and it's interesting that there are times when people just like when I was asked in 2004, I was like, yeah, I got time. Before that, I wouldn't have. It would have been like, meetings. And we are only meeting once a month at that point. So, you know, you never know when people have, it doesn't have to do with how many kids they have in school or who's in college or, you know, what their job thing is. It's just,
So I think you did, not to, so I mean, when this HVAC thing kind of wraps up, I guess, is, how does it work though? If we don't have like, I mean, obviously these are always on the agenda, but if we come here just for 10 minutes, do we want to? You know what I mean? 'Cause some of, I mean, the seems like the highway, some of these projects might ramp up a little bit, but they might be
Right.
slow for certain.
I was gonna, so two issues I was gonna bring up, correct. I was gonna say, once this is in the next month or so, do we need to meet twice a month or only once? And that's up to the commission.
Yeah, we can figure that
We can
out.
figure that out probably in the next month, or at least maybe 1 or 2 months, we can skip 2 and have 1, or however it's done. And,
So you could, how does that work? You could just cancel that meeting? I mean, obviously, we can just, yeah, just cancel it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We just,
The calendar's set for the year, so
Okay.
the meetings were already set and approved. So you just have to, if you don't want to have a meeting, you just cancel it.
Okay,
it's
What,
easier.
48
to-
hours ahead of time, 48? Is it-
No, you just cancel it.
Oh,
So it's
okay.
actually easier. That's part of the reason we did it. However, many years ago, we used to meet once a month. Then we ramped up into, we started working on the library and then we started working on police.
none of it makes sense when the projects ramp up twice a month, makes it.
Yeah, no, it does.
And it's easier to put the calendar in place for the year and
Than
cancel meetings than to try to have special meetings all the time.
Yeah, I can see that.
Because with the 2 school renovation projects, we were sometimes meeting every week. having
Yeah, no, I can
special
see those big,
meetings.
yeah.
Yeah.
I was just curious the process. So is that your call, Roger, or you could just share?
No,
Well,
I-
we could talk
I
about
think
it
it's,
as far as what needs to be done, all of us.
yeah, it's the commission, the board, you know, say yes or no.
And whoever's involved with, you know, if we have a contractor working on the job and a owner's rep or whatever, and they'll say, you know, we won't have anything to deal with for us, because if they're doing the OAC meetings, let's say, and
Okay,
they're
yeah.
taking care of things at that level, but we don't have anything we have to decide or approve. They may say, yeah, we don't need to meet in 2 weeks. We'll wait till the beginning of next month. That
Well,
kind of
that just comes to my point again, that we tried, you know, I mean, a few months ago now, Dave has left and we're trying to get somebody else, but maybe assign some projects to us, 1 or 2. So we may not have to meet, twice a month because, Jeff is still following up, or Tom, or Chris is, you know, gonna follow up with the engineer about something.
Yeah.
So do we need to meet as a whole, or the one person, he or she can share, and then at the next meeting, then, Chris will say, yes, I talked to him and here's the
Yeah,
status,
it makes
so
sense,
we
yeah.
don't have to have
Yeah.
that.
Because we have to.
So let's think
Yeah, see how
about
it
it
goes.
again.
Yeah, yeah,
no,
yeah.
I mean, I'll make, say one thing, you know, if the commission would rather have, you know, one longer meeting, I would imagine if we're down to 1 meeting, it would be longer.
Well, I mean, these are generally go whatever, there's no.
Yeah, hour and a
right?
half.
So, yeah, so it's, if you're right, if that one meeting has to go long because we let
We
some
don't
of
meet
it.
till 11 o'clock at night like. we used to.
Right. Well, I'm
We
just
were doing-
thinking, so
Yeah, I can
for the
imagine.
for the March meeting, if
Partly
that's,
because of-
if we have highway garage and we have all the invoices for this
That meeting could
High
go
school
longer, that could be.
and
but,
anything else that comes up,
Yeah,
you know, that could be a long meeting, but then we might not need the second meeting. in
Yeah.
March.
Right.
right.
Okay, so more on that
Seems like
topic in the
everybody
next
seems
month or so.
flexible as
Yeah,
far
we'll
as
figure that
scheduling,
out.
so.
The only other item that I'd like to, an issue is, when Kathy sends out an invite, I would appreciate it, at least the morning of the meeting, because I think it was after lunch or something, I said, oh, shoot, I'm the only one in Chris, I think, and I know Tom was either gonna sign on, I don't know, he was driving back, so we didn't have a quorum.
Yeah, I apologize, because I thought I
No, I
approved
know.
yes, but no, that's a fair point. I said I would email you in the morning, I'll say that's.
Yeah, so just.
That's why I sent out the email. I'm like, I think I said yes, but is any, I just said, let me just start
No,
email
you can
chain.
check if you go
Yeah.
back again.
I had all my different computers up. I was
Oh.
switching between things, so I was like, yeah, but I saw it.
But it would help, so we
No,
don't panic, it's, oh,
100%,
well, we
yeah,
don't have a
yeah,
quorum, but I'm sure
So-
we will.
And then one last thing, if, when you meet with, Dan and purchasing agent and, or procurement, whatever title is, and Eric. I think we need to, and I've said this for years
at
and
the
years and years
boundaries,
and
right?
years.
Yeah.
What's the sequence that we go through to get a project going? You know, it's assigned to us by the Board of Selectmen. There's no money attached or nothing, and then what do we do? Every project is usually attached to, well, I think it always is attached to a department. So there's always going to be someone from that department who has to have some input. Not always every meeting, but, you know, we wouldn't be doing, work on schools without input from Board of Ed. Because we'd be, you know, we wouldn't build a police station without input from the police department. That it would be just like, oh, I don't know, what do we do? And so not just having to do things like writing an RFP and putting it out, because there'll be more RFPs that have to be written. There is always town stuff that has to be a part of it, and then the specifics to what we're looking for. And who does that, who helps us with that. When we've had owners rep on a project, they help with that. They have a whole team of people that can do all kinds of different things depending on what you ask them to do. My opinion, it'd be great to have like some kind of owner's project manager on each project, get them in ahead of time. Costs more money, saves money in the long run, I think. And some towns have that as a person that works for the town. Our town's not that big to have.
Well, I mean, this commission is the only one that doesn't have like a town person assigned to
No,
it. Like,
nope.
You know, Board of Finance, Brad, like every commission has somebody from the town.
Yes.
Was STV involved from the beginning on the HVAC
But I
project?
don't know who that person
Yes.
would be though. Yeah.
So with the high school roof, we'd already have an owner's rep selected at this point.
Kind of, I mean, it's some projects looking back at some of the other projects that we did without owners reps, having one on board before we got as far as we did would have been really helpful, because we're a bunch of volunteers who, even though we have bunches of experience.
Well, the work in you have the day's time to
Yeah.
follow up on stuff.
Right.
I
And
will have,
so if you've got somebody like an owner's project manager who's running an OAC meeting once a week or every other week or whatever it is, they're doing it all at that level. We don't have to do it. We shouldn't have to do it. We shouldn't be on a job. We shouldn't have to be on the job. Info should be brought to us to make decisions, etc. And I know there are owners, reps, owners, project managers who are brought onto a job before it ever, especially in municipalities, before it ever gets anywhere, because they can come up with, gotta pay them some money. They can come up with like a budget. Like with the school projects, I think the town Board of Ed hired, I think the O&G to do like a budget process. And then they hired the architects with an agreement that once we got to that figure where we went to a referendum, and that got brought to a referendum, if the referendum was turned down, the architects just stopped and we just paid them what we owed them up to that time. And that didn't happen, which was good. But we didn't hire, it was STV on those. That's when we first got started with STV. If we had gotten them on a little sooner, I think we would have had some things that we could have.
I think if we do, I mean, in my opinion, we've only, Tom and I, just under a year and a half, but STV did a good job. My impression was Rick was a nice guy, but I don't think he was that forceful. You know, he was filling out the, this is what Jason told me, compared to someone like Mark. When I dealt with them, I'm not paying, this and that. He's too frank at times, maybe, but he got things done. He got, so we need to impress upon whoever that we hire.
Yeah.
They have to be assertive and not say, well, Jason told me this. Okay, here's the, and then, because Mark is the first thing that says, you know what, we need a lot more field verification. He got to John and, so he was the one who really I'm not putting him down, but Rick he was just he was like a clerk at times, you know, he was just filling out, I mean, the schedule. And that's not what, and I think that's why we got behind and not checking. And then when we started to check, I mean, the invoices, back in November, they said, oh yeah, all the ductwork is insulated and everything. It wasn't even touched. But if we didn't challenge that, and if they didn't check that,
Yeah.
we would have paid them. And who the heck knows if it would ever have been done, you know? So we need somebody that's really focused.
Yeah.
And, you know,
And that's, you know, we were, I would say, somewhat spoiled by Kevin, Geraldine in the beginning. She's just the best. And it's,
do we have to put a bid out for,
well, if you're gonna hire.
firms like that?
Yeah, you would, if you wanna, so there are a lot, when we did some checking into firms for, I think it might have been the school project or one other project. Get these big firms that have whole teams of people. You get this project manager who's there, comes to the meetings, gives you the budget reports, but they got a whole team of people behind them who will do, you know, that's part of what STV had planned to do with us is do a page turn of the plans, which we didn't get them started until after we had to approve the plans. So they've got teams of people that will do all kinds of, and then you get, you know, these two guys that show up and they're like, just started their own company or whatever. They don't have a whole team of people. Maybe you need the whole team of people, maybe you don't. Depends on the project, depends on the size of the project. There have been times when we've gotten a little pushback on wanting to have an owner's rep on a project because it's going to cost more. And then later on, it's like, oh, we're so good here. So, and there are big companies out there that do this. There are small companies. And if we're going to, you know, if the town was going to hire somebody, they'd have to put an RFP out there. And what are we looking for? Are we looking for someone to get us started first? And then we're going to ask them for what's your additional amount to do all the construction administration? Same thing with hiring an architect or whatever. They're going to, like if we're looking at the highway garage roof, if they come up with the plans, who's going to watch it being done while the construction's going on? You need them to do that part too. That's why where's the, Kathy's got it. Silver Petroselli has their different phases
Right.
that they bill at. And so,
Right, Silver Petroselli could effectively act as the architect and owner's rep on a project like that.
now sometimes you'll get architects that'll say that. You'll get also construction managers that'll say that. Oh, we work for you. We'll be your,
Right.
But who's keeping an eye on that? So, you know, really big project. Anyways,
Yeah, I think a lot of it,
something to think about.
yeah, I think a lot of it we learned was the lack of leverage in this HVAC contract too.
Yeah.
There was no teeth. Even if Rick wanted to scream and yell, I'm not sure
We could, yeah.
there was much that was gonna.
Right, and
I generally agree, but with your statements, but.
I'm not taking, but I'm just saying, he just seemed to, well, yeah, well, Jason told me that. But Mark's a little bit different. I'm just saying, you know, he right away, you know, I think brought up, well, isn't anybody feel verifying it?
Yeah.
You know, that the insulation was done and kind of like, you know, except for Tyler, but that's not his job. He said,
Yeah,
well, yeah,
he's
I
got
was up
his
there
whole-
and I checked.
He's
But
got
he
a
has all
whole
the
other
schools.
part to take
Yeah,
care
he's
of.
got
I
all the
still
schools
struggle
he's
with
got
it. We
to
didn't
do.
even know the fans weren't wired, weren't connected, the old ones.
That's unbelievable.
Like, they just can't get over that, but.
But
I
at the
know, this
same
is-
time, like that's something that, I mean, it should have been field verified, but as Kohler Ronan did all of the, you know, the plans and all that.
I
I
don't
mean, you
understand how
can
they
look up in the ceiling here and there and you don't know what's going on in between. They can't see everything. You can't
No.
expect them to see and know everything that's in place, especially,
Well, I would argue they should have known that there was no ductwork or the fans weren't wired, the old fan. I mean,
Well, can I say that, you know, they may have been, and then they broke, you know, something happened. And I'm not gonna, but maybe poor maintenance, they didn't have the budget, and, you know, guy goes, well, we can do it the next, you know, and it
maybe
was
it's
just
just,
lost.
maybe it's just how it's worded
It
in
was
the
lost.
RFP, you know, when you review it to make sure. you
Right.
know, The fans
but there's
are
always gonna be,
currently.
that's why I have contingencies. There's
Yeah.
always gonna be
Right.
stuff that's missed. And as we've heard from Dr. Carter, from Jen, from Tyler, and you'd have heard it from the people who were in place Bob Carbonaro and Terry Yansky before them, all the different work that's been done in that school over the time. You know, it could be the big addition and then they didn't fix things or finish things or whatever, or it could be little bits done here and there. And
Wow.
somebody's up there and something gets disconnected and they don't connect it and that nobody
Well, somebody
notices it.
leaves, right? Somebody leaves, they don't leave good plans behind or the drawings, you remember?
There's that too.
So they say, well, I gotta start over because I don't know what the
All
hell's
of that
accurate,
stuff
right?
happened over the years
Yeah.
with the high school, especially since they worked on it in 2010 and did the addition. And so a lot of things that should have been done then weren't done. They weren't in the scope. They were basically like, oh, we can't do that because we don't have the money. And so a lot of that, and we weren't doing that. It was a whole ad hoc committee that did that. And they came up with what they came up with. And then again, in between then and now, all these other little bits have been done. And who was crawling around up there and disconnected a duct and didn't hook it back up.
Again, it's the testing of if it's a code that these bathrooms have to have ventilation or whatever, and they're not, year to year, they just don't work, like, I don't know, just.
Well, I think,
Who actually checks the building for like, you know?
Yeah, but that one bathroom, do you remember that the bathroom, it was locked or something because kids go in there, so, you know, smoking or whatever. So, you know, so it's locked, out of sight, out of mind, right?
Anyway, it is what it is.
I was gonna say, I bet Kohler Ronan probably adds that to their scope going forward, you
Yeah.
know? Existing circuitry says X, verify power and field before, you know, terminating or whatever.
Yeah,
I
Yeah,
mean, it's as simple as that language would have put the.
Well, that's what I'm
onus-
thinking, yeah, that's why, like, yeah.
But,
Who would've
but
thought of that
to
later?
Nancy's point, I mean, if you see huge projects like this all the time, there's a contingency because there's just so much unforeseen and unknown. You know, you just can't get it all. But I think a simple language change of scope could have caught that.
Yeah, oh yeah, I would, yeah.
and would we have caught it, or would, if we had some project manager looking at it, would they have caught it?
Yeah, we probably would have said the same as Shepton, well, they're replacing these old fans, that must mean the old ones don't work, you know?
Well, I went through
Not that, they're not wired, some of these.
Yeah.
I went through all the contracts and I was looking for that one sentence and I couldn't find it.
well, we're all educated now, so, I mean, the next one, we can ask the right questions. Okay, anybody else? I'll make a motion that, we adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Or,
Okay,
thank you.
thank you, Nancy, for your input. Really,